Hello, welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Podcast. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard. That's L-E-N-A-R-D. It looks French. It's not. It's Leonard without an O. Thank you for tuning in. As Graham Norton used to say on his show, let's get on with the show! Joining me today is Caleb Collier of the Church and State podcast. I was on his show in May of 2026. Of course, ask that you all go check that out. We may cover a little of the same ground, but I'm going to try to avoid that. So listen to May 2026, Joseph M. Leonard on Church and State podcast with Caleb Collier. Yeah, that's not Border Collie. That's Caleb Collier, Collier. And I, of course, don't make that joke to demean him. Name association and jokes help people remember things, right? Welcome to the show, Caleb. How are you?
I got to tell you, you got the last name right, but the first name you're butchering. It's Caleb.
Oh, no. It's Caleb. Oh, of course it is. The one I normally get right, I screwed it up. Well, my apologies.
No worries. I'm notorious on my show for butchering names too, but now, yeah, it should be super memorable to the audience since it has become kind of a joke.
Yeah, I'm always sensitive with names too, normally, because my last name looks French. It's not Leonard. It's Leonard, like from Big Bang Theory, Leonard without an O, or Leonard Nimoy without the O. So I try to be very sensitive to that thing, and yet I've screwed it up. And here I went and did the whole Border Collie joke and still screwed up your name.
No worries at all.
So the obvious first, the proverbial Christian show, so pun intended, Proverbs, proverbial first question. Where were you born and raised? Where are you now? Significant places you've been in between. Let's get that standard question out of the way.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of a longer one. I've kind of led an interesting life. I was actually born in San Francisco, California, in a cult, a communist Christian cult. My parents, they shared a common house and had a common purse, and the money was distributed to each according to their needs, which is just absolutely awful. Thankfully, my parents left when I was 2 years old. I don't have any memory of that. My dad was very nomadic. We moved around a lot of different places in Central and Northern California, and then ultimately they moved to Washington State, where I reside now, in Eastern Washington, so still behind enemy lines. But I was in the Marine Corps, served for 4 years, 98 through 02.
And thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. And I've been a city council member, so I'm a former politician. I like to tell people, don't hold that against me. I'm self-loathing. But worked for a number of different political organizations as well. Worked for the John Birch Society, worked for TPUSA Faith. So I used to work for Charlie Kirk. And then now I do Church and State, and I also work for a company called Mark 37. We sell ghost phones and ghost laptops, so phones and laptops that don't spy on you.
Yeah, that's we could talk for hours just on that alone, but I'm going to avoid that. The next obvious question is, of course, the Church and State show title, obviously from the Jefferson letter that the left likes to bastardize all the time. It's not in the founding documents. It still applies, and it's to protect the church from the state, not the other way around. And What was the genesis of you deciding to go with that title?
So when I was a city councilman, I was running for reelection, and I lost, and it was brutal. I was like, God, I know you called me into politics. What happened? Why did I lose? I'd been interviewed on a number of different shows, and had actually guest hosted as well. So a week after I had lost the election, I get a call from a radio station. Would you like to start doing a talk show? And I was like, oh, okay. Not my plans, your plans. Got it. I need to stop questioning God. Okay, perfect. I actually ended up partnering with my best friend who's a pastor. What we did is he's a pastor. I'm a politician, church and state. Did it for I've been doing this for almost a decade. He ended up going into missions, so he actually left about a year and a half ago, but we're still great friends. And so the name sticks. And, part of the premise of what I do on the show is encouraging Christians to get involved. And we got to get involved politically. John Adams said that this Constitution was made for a moral and religious people, is wholly inadequate to any other. Why is the country slipping? Why do we see cracks in the original intent? Because we're not moral or religious people anymore.
I've got an article on that. Is prayer alone enough? No, it's not. You need to get off your lazy hindsight. It's like also 2 Corinthians. If my people shall humble themselves and pray, I shall hear, and, the important part, and turn from their wicked ways. I'm using air quotes for the benefit of the transcript there. I shall hear and heal their land. Well, you can't skip over the turn. That means us. That means an action. That means we get off our butt. That doesn't mean just pray and God waves a magic wand. God is telling us he will help, but we have to work to turn the nation from the wicked ways, and he will help. Yes, an important distinction.
Absolutely. Faith is a verb. James tells us, faith without works is dead. So we've got to get active. I never diminish the power of prayer. Prayer is very, very powerful, and I encourage people to engage in it. But it also our faith requires us to go and do the things that Christ told us to do, and that's to go and make disciples and teaching them everything that he taught his disciples. And so when we look at that, Jesus had a lot to say about the religious leaders, the political leaders, and we got to engage in the system. We have the benefit as Americans of being born into a republic, the best system of government that's ever been applied. But we're apathetic. We're lazy to that. We've enjoyed these freedoms to such a degree that we've gotten lazy, and we're not in the game. We're not in the fight anymore. And so we as Christians got to get back out there, and we got to be careful with that as well, because it can become a god. In fact, I'm very open about this. If there was a period in my life where I worshipped liberty over God, I was worshiping the creation over the Creator, and so we got to have it aligned. Christ is King; He has to be King of our lives in everything that we do. Now, we've all been given different talents. That's very biblical, obviously. And so if you have your talent, if you have something that you're passionate about, get out there and start working into it, whether that be education, politics, whatever it looks like. You have a mission here on earth, and it's to advance the kingdom of God. But you should do it in the field that you can apply yourself.
Yeah, a couple things. Now, first, the whole no kings but King Jesus. The current leftist cultural Marxist crowd in their no kings protest, they are really not even just anti-American. They are anti-Christian because they leave out that other part, the whole battle cry of the revolution. No, it doesn't say God in the Constitution. It doesn't need to. It says endowed by our Creator in the Declaration. That was already established. And even before that, it was further established in our battle cry, no kings, and you got to finish the sentence, but King Jesus. So all these morons, they weren't Christians. Oh, yeah. That was just no kings but King Jesus. You gotta complete. It's like Matthew 7. Judge not lest ye be judged. It's really condemn not lest ye be condemned, because there's more to Matthew 7 than those 7 words, including remove the log from thine own. Yes, we are to judge biblically ourselves and all biblically. And the other thing is to quote the great religious scholar Geddy Lee of Rush, not Limbaugh, the talk show guy, the Canadian rock trio, not known as a Christian band, but indeed very Christian, the Free Will song. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Indeed, God gave us free will, and only thing necessary, evil prevail. Good people do nothing. Again, faith without works. You must sow to reap, or we are all choking down the rotten fruit of others. Yes?
Yeah, I would agree. Context absolutely matters. It's like that great Christian Valentine's card that has Joel Osteen on it, and it says, "You must be context because I want to take you out." No, you got to read the Bible in its entirety, right? And you can't cherry pick little phrases that you want to use to attack an individual that you don't necessarily agree with. The left is the easy enemy, though, and I should preface this by saying that I'm a libertarian, so I don't play the whole party politics. I refer to myself as a biblitarian. You and I talked about this on when I hosted you on the show. We're kind of like-minded in that. You're a Christitutionalist.
Biblical community, Christitutionalism, yes, over worldly communism. There is a big difference between the two. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so as a biblitarian, I'm looking at the left. Obviously we have massive problems there. They've rejected Christ. They've gotten into a lot of the mainline Protestant churches and brought in communist ideology, really satanic ideology, if you want to get down to the root. But I think the bigger concern that we have as the American church is actually coming from the right. And there's a lot of worship.
Rhinos.
Well, not just rhinos. There's a lot of worship going on with Donald Trump, for example.
Trump cultism is every bit as bad as Trump derangement syndrome. Yes.
TDS goes both ways.
Yeah, there is emotional, hysterical snowflakes on the right also. I say that all the time. I'm sorry, but if you're an emotional hysteric, non-logic, non-reasoned, non-thinker, you're every bit as bad as those on the left, and a Trump cultist, we'll get into more, indeed, is as bad as TDS. It's non-thinking.
Yes, absolutely. And to give examples, I'll give 2 examples of this. When that portrait came out a few months back, and it had Trump as Christ, and he didn't paint it. No, I get that, but he shared it. And a lot of people, and rightfully so, in my opinion, a lot of Christians were like, "Yeah, that's not right. That we don't do that."
But you criticized it when it happened under Obama as Christ, as a God figure, then although I would say I understand the Trump thing. They try Trump as the healer. Okay, that's a little better, but yeah, it still kind of dances on that line at best and goes over it at worst. Yes,
it certainly does. And then we had the Trump golden statue, and literally, Pastor Mark Burns, who I know, was like, "This is not a golden calf," and we're over here like, pretty sure that's a golden calf. That looks like a golden calf. So yeah, these are very problematic. And so when we have Christian, MAGA type people that are defending this, look, you have to understand that you're being used. And this is a tool that the state uses. And you pointed it out rightfully with Obama. And it goes back beyond that. Look at images of presidents, of leaders in this country, and you will see them strategically placed with like halos behind them, lighting behind them, so it kind of shines out. They use religious imagery with our leaders in this country because they want you to worship the state, not Christ Jesus.
Yeah. Now, the whole Trump, yeah, Constitutionalist, this very show, back to the the whole Bible in full context. Good, bad, ugly of our politics. Yes, the left and right both at times deserve to be called out. Trump is not a conservative. He is a populist. One of the Trump cultist things that drives me crazy is Doge. The committee is now officially coming to an end. Okay. 400 billion saved a year this year. Okay. But that isn't codified into law for each year. We are still running a $1.5 trillion deficit. So 400 billion out of a government that spends $7 trillion a year. It's still, yes, credit where credit's due. It's something. And we need to start somewhere, but it's still a drop in the bucket, and we're still on track because Trump has signed every single CR, signed every single budget bill. He's not even threatened to veto any spending, not even once, let alone done it. So he's not a conservative. He's spending like crazy, like every other president. 39 trillion in debt, on track for 42 trillion at the end of this now second term. So I don't care who. I criticized Reagan, so I'm not giving Trump a pass. I have criticized every single president. And no, spare me, Newt, and your lie. You did not balance the budget. Again, credit where credit is due. Yes, Clinton and Gingrich reduced the rate of growth, not cuts, reduced the rate of growth. And back then, unlike during Obama and Biden, growth was still good. But still, you can't grow or inflate your way out of this debt, this problem. They moved a lot of things off budget. So yeah, they deserve credit for shrinking the deficits, but every year of Clinton's presidency, the debt continued to rise. And that is called us being consistent and principled, principles, not personalities. Yes?
I would agree with that. And I say all the time on the show that the truly the last constitutional president we had was Calvin Coolidge. And that's sad that we have to go all the way back to the 1920s to find a true constitutionalist in the executive office. But ever since then, going from FDR forward, we have seen very progressive. We've seen more of a uniparty style. I mean, the Democrats are more of the welfare party, whereas the Republicans are more of the warfare party. But regardless, they're all using Keynesian economics. You're pointing it out right there.
Baseline that's how we're budgeting operating. Bullshit.
Yes, exactly. So they're using that. And our system, our economic system in this country is in shambles. We're already dealing with the Federal Reserve, which is absolutely illegal and unconstitutional. And
there are no reserves.
Exactly. And now, I don't know if you saw this, Josie. You might want to look this up to fact check me here, or the audience can. But in 2025, Trump actually initiated something where we, the individual, can actually pay the government to reduce the deficit. It's a voluntary program where we can pay the government to reduce the deficit. Like the biblical passage, "A fool and his money are soon parted," comes to mind right there. So you already tax me to death. You're already stealing the purchasing power of my dollar through inflation. I don't even own my home because of property taxes. And now you want me to voluntarily assist the government who's done the worst job imaginable. If this was a private company, they would have been bankrupt probably a century ago. And they want me to pay voluntarily into that? Yeah, no, thank you.
When I was young and dumb, I did that. I wrote a separate check to the Bureau of the Public Debt to help reduce the deficit and the debt. And you leftists who are constantly talking about, we need to tax more, you can still write an extra check. You don't have to, by law, take all your deductions. You can volunteer, but no, they don't want them to pay more. They want everybody else always to pay more. It's like Bernie Sanders, of course. Millionaires and billionaires. You notice he never says millionaires anymore, since he's worth over 6 million on his way to 10 million, has 3 houses, including a beachfront house. So much for global warming, going to wash all the shorelines away. Shall be known by fruits. I don't care what you say. You shall be known by what you show me. Another Rush song, show, don't tell. I did that before. I would certainly never, ever do that again. But those of you crying, you can step up and pay more. And the whole church and state, Revelation, Mark of the Beast, Trump is eagerly rushing in digital currency. Yeah. Trump, I've criticized also for the elimination of the penny. It's the first step. Then you eliminate the nickel and the dime, and eventually all regular exchange monetaries are gone, and we're at Mark of the Beast. So
you're absolutely right, Joseph.
That's not me saying, oh, Trump is the Antichrist. No, I'm not saying that. Holy, look, come on, people. The Trump cultists will be all over social media. Oh my God, he's got TDS. No. Principles, not personalities. When somebody's worthy of praise, I give it. When worthy of criticism, I give it. And that's one of them. He's taken bad advice. You can make a tin penny and paint it copper. So there are things you could do short of attempting to eliminate the penny. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought eschatology into the conversation, and let me just say that I am a Lutheran, LCMS. I'm the good side of the Lutheran Church. There is a conservative side, there is a progressive side. We are not the progressive side. So I'm not a dispensationalist. I believe in covenant theology. I'm a futurist, amillennialist. So I'm not necessarily looking at the pre-trib rapture, but I do see a lot of signs that the book of Revelation and other books as well point to that make me scratch my head a little bit and go, hey, I'm not saying that we are definitely living in the end of days, but we should be watchful.
That either.
Yeah,
There's always been, ever since Christ's passage, those wandering around, the end is nigh signs. We shall not know the time.
Yes. But that being said,
God's time, not ours.
Absolutely. But that being said, there is some things that we should be noticing as Christians. And you have to understand, I hate it when people say that government is stupid. No, these people are not necessarily stupid. Yeah, sure. Some of the front men, AOC's, Bernie Sanders, and some within the Republican side as well, they're not all that bright. Okay. But some of these the people behind the scenes, the puppet masters, these people are brilliant. And so when we're looking at things like, for example, Donald Trump and talking about making Canada the 51st state, right? And taking Greenland as well. Like, people were like, oh, this is kind of strange. And you had the left going, Orange Man's bad, and then the right was like, yeah, let's do it. Why did he want these two specific areas? Well, you have to go back to the Council on Foreign Relations. I read their publications. I recommend people do. Know your enemy. But the Council on Foreign Relations actually released something in 2018 called the 10 Kingdoms Plan. Where did we hear about the 10 kingdoms? Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. That's in the book of Revelation. So they already are deciding to carve out the entire world into 10 specific regions. Initially in this plan, it was going to be the United States, Canada, and Mexico. But ultimately, they revised the plan and they made the first region the United States, Canada, and Greenland. So when Donald Trump, a few years later, starts talking about taking this northern hemisphere and making it a region or a kingdom, I pay attention to that. Okay, when we start looking at Elon Musk telling us that he wants to put a chip into our brains, and we got the right is like, Elon Musk is the man. No, he's not. No, he is not. This guy is a sicko. Okay. He wants to put a chip in my brain. No, thank you. I think I'm going to decline that. Why? Because I've read the book and
I'm
I
all
see that
for
this
it
has a.
for medical reasons. It's someone who's disabled, and if it can
But that's how they
help them
get you.
to.
That's the
But
slippery
yeah,
slope.
that's it. Bingo, bingo. I've got shows on slippery slope all the time. Exactly. It's when it goes well beyond that, and the problem is, it always does.
Of course it does. Technology always takes us to that point, right? Is because man, through technology, is trying to become God. And God's not going to sit on his hands and allow that to occur. And the Bible is filled with multiple stories. Obviously, the Tower of Babel is probably the most familiar one to Christians. But anytime we start trying to play God, God's hand comes in and he disrupts those plans. And so you think about what's going to happen with technology, with the advancements that we have, and the ability of people to become cyborgs, really. And Yuval Noah Harari is literally talking about this transhumanism. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend you look him up, Yuval Noah Harari. But transhumanism will make it to where, by their own words, it'll be the next evolution of mankind. But imagine what that would look like in the workplace. If you are dealing with people who have access immediately to the internet through their mind, through their brain, because they have a chip in them, you are going to quickly, if you decline that, if you say no, I'm going to maintain my humanity, you are going to become obsolete, and that's the plan right there. If I'm in the business world and I can access the computer, I can say, oh, sorry, boss, I don't know the answer to that. Let me get back to you in a day. Versus somebody can go, boom,
Bingo.
I have the
Yep.
answer for you right now. Who do you think is going to be employed?
Yeah. And I'm all for like ectoskeletal, again, for medical that can help people walk. But again, it's always the beginning, and it's always we are given free will, and there will always be those who will choose evil. And again, back to the Burke quote, the only thing necessary for evil prevail, good peoples do nothing. And a whole lot of nothing is the norm today for most people. I'm making myself a note. I will include my songs, No Kings but King Jesus, God's Time, and Evil Prevail at the end of this episode because it all relates. Now, back to other Republicans like Jim Jordan. Talk's a great game, but I got up before we started and printed this off from Newsmax on Truth Social. I said, yep, more talk, zero action. We got a lot of people who talk a great game, but they don't, like Pam Glam for the Cameras, Blondie, needs to be fired. Whole lot of talk. Oh, we're referring so-and-so to this. We're referring. It's like in this post, DOJ warning. The Justice Department has sent letters to election officials in all 50 states and the District of Columbia warning them that they could face criminal. They won't. They could. They should. They won't. More talk.
And this kind of points to that uniparty that I was talking about earlier. The reality is you're falling prey to tribalism. And they've done this to us for so long. They've convinced us that the enemy is on the other side of the aisle. And in reality, I tell people all this time, your Democrat neighbor is not your enemy. Your Democrat neighbor, if you go and talk to them, they're going to
Depends on how much of it, if they're an actual old school Democrat or a commie fasci sociocrat.
I'll tell you a story in a minute here that is really surprising. But to continue on with that, your Democrat neighbor, they want primarily the same things you do. They want a house. They want to be unmolested. They want their kids to go to school. They want to work their job. We've fallen prey to this idea that the enemy is left, right, but the reality is the enemy is top, bottom. Okay, the vast majority of us are at that bottom. It's like what George Carlin used to say, right? It's a big club and you ain't in it. Okay,
Exactly.
the top, the elite,
or what Groucho Marx. I don't want to be part of any club that would have me as a member.
Exactly. So that top elite class, and it's not even necessarily about the wealth. All right, that's a
Right.
communist talking point.
It's a
the wealthy
ruling
against the poor.
elitism. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the elite class who
The
believes that they can govern
oligarchy
ourselves.
that Bernie Sanders is part of that tries to talk against.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this elite class who thinks that they can govern you better than you can govern yourself. And I refuse to operate in that system. I'm a free man and I'm going to operate that way. Now, to tell you this story, I was recently asked to speak at an event against data centers. And, this is something that we should all be very concerned about. And it's not the old school data centers. Look, data centers have been around for a long time. So we got to identify.
I'm a former IT guy. Exactly.
There we go. Yeah. So data centers have been around a long time. It's this new version, these AI data centers that are being built in areas all around the country. They're part of that surveillance system. As they start with the Palantir, the flock cameras, the signal trace, they need places to store all that data on we the people. And so these data centers are being built up all across the country. There's an environmental factor there as well. This is where the left can come in because it's actually ruining the environment and ruining people's homes and their farms. But I was asked to speak at this event. Before the event occurs, there's this long-haired guy, a little bit different. And he looks at me and he goes, "Where do you align politically?" I said, I'm a Christian libertarian." He goes, "Okay." He goes, "I'm Antifa." And I was like, "Oh, interesting. I've never had a cordial conversation with Antifa before."
You usually can't. But yeah,
true. Yeah, but he tells me, he's like, I'm the good Antifa. He's like, I hated Biden and I also hate Trump. And I'm like, well, yeah, I also didn't like Biden and I don't really care for a lot of things Trump's doing. Absolutely.
I've got several episodes I called into Wham Radio weeks ago. The collectivist absolutist mindset. We are all given free. Martin Luther King Jr. Content of character. You can't go based on the lumping of a group. Is every Muslim on the planet my enemy? No, I support Dr. Judy Jasser for Congress. He wrote the book Reform, the Battle for the Soul of Islam. But are most of them a problem right now? Yes, but that doesn't mean all. You can't make collectivist absolutist statements like that. And back to Jim Jordan, more hearings, more dog and pony shows. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No. You're right though, and that's exactly what it is: dog and pony shows. And so when I ended up talking to this Antifa guy. Look, we disagreed on a lot of things, but what we did agree on was that the data center should not be built in the town where I'm at. And so we united over that. And you know what? The event, it ended up being really good. A lot of people from the left and the right coming together saying, yeah, we don't want this. Some of them were there for the environment. Some of them were there for more of the privacy issues. But still, if we unite as Americans and actually identify the true enemy, which is that elite class that I was talking about, we can make headway here. We can actually come back towards a republic because we haven't been operating as a republic for quite some time. There's a reason why every single talking head talks about our democracy. When you go back and read what the founding fathers thought about democracy, no, we were never intended to be a democracy. But a democracy
we talked about that on your show. I have my old notes here. Meritocracy versus our current ineptocracy or mobocracy. Yes.
Yeah, and democracies are short-lived.
The Animal Farm movie
Absolutely.
Was just out. Did a great job. It wasn't anti-capitalist. It was anti crony capitalist.
Yeah.
I'm anti-crony capitalist also. That's not good either.
And I'm a free market libertarian, and the free market can differ from capitalism. A lot of times they try to merge these two words together, but it's the same as Republican democracy. They can mean two very, very different things. And returning back to democracy, you have to understand that what our founding fathers thought and believed and knew about democracy is that they're short-lived, that they're chaotic. And ultimately what they result in is a collapse. And that collapse is engineered. Think Cloward Piven, right? Is that through that chaos, you can have the phoenix rise. And that phoenix that rises is always some type of totalitarian system. That's always what occurs throughout history, is a totalitarian regime emerges and the people clamor for it. They want it because why? Because in chaos, they want to feel safe. And that safety, the best person to come in or industry to come in and offer that safety is government.
Yeah, getting back to Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, we need him as part of a common sense caucus as opposed to Rashida Taliban, as I call her here in Michigan, the Ilhan Omars and the AOCs. But you need a Zuhdi Jasser to indeed counter an Ilhan Esme, which is her legal name. It's not Omar. That's the family she engaged with to illegally immigrate here. But again, a whole other story to go down. Thanks, Caleb, not Caleb, Caleb Collier for coming on. Of course, the time has flown again. We could talk for hours, but then the show would be too long. And let me remind, I was on with Caleb Collier on Church and State podcast back in May of 2026. So check out that show. Thanks, Caleb, for stopping by.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I may, I'd love the audience to go over to churchandstate.media. That's our website. If you fill out that annoying registration form right off the bat, you'll get our newsletter. But I also personally call every single person that fills that out. So if you want to talk with me, there's your opportunity. Also, check out my book, Political Incontinence. This is a book just filled with stupid quotes from politicians. So it's a real fun bathroom reader or a coffee table book. We're actually working on a second one called Mainstream Manure.
For the benefit of the audio only and the transcript, the title of the book again is that you're holding up.
Political Incontinence. So it's just stupid quotes from politicians. As I said, we're working on book number 2. It's almost completed. It's Mainstream Manure, a steady stream of yellow journalism. Yeah. So we got another one coming out.
Plenty of verbal diarrhea out there to quote.
There absolutely is. But yeah, most importantly, please check out the website, churchandstate.media. And Joseph, thanks for allowing me to come on the show. It's been a blast.
Thanks for stopping by. We'll have to do this again sometime next year. A follow-up episode. There'll be plenty of folly between now and then to be able to talk about.
Indeed.
From both sides of the aisle. Again, this show is not meant to be partisan. It's not meant to be denominational either. It's about Christianity as a whole, the whole Bible in full context. It is humans that have caused all the denominational divisions and the arguments of it. Jesus never contradicted himself, not even where it says one place, turn your sword into a plowshare, and another place where he says, who has a garment should sell it and buy a sword and prepare for battle. Those two don't contradict. They are contextually about particular places and times and not others. Yes?
Amen.
All right. Have a good one, brother. Take care.
Thank
God
you,
bless.
Too.
Sunday thoughts, coffee steaming, quiet streets, headlines heavy, people breaking when no one sees. So I lift their names up, every burden I can't fix, let it rise like incense, every hurt into your hands. I'm sending thoughts and prayers to heaven over every broken heart, every family, every soldier, every shadow and they scar. When this world crowns its pretenders, I remember what they preached. Our fathers wrote it down forever. No kings, but King Jesus over me. Jesus is King. Jesus is King. Jesus is King.
Old church steeple, cross still reaching past the sky. Ancient promise, still the answer to our cries. From the fields at Valley Forge to the pew I'm kneeling in, same confession on our lips, same hope that never ends. I'm sending thoughts and prayers to heaven over every
cross was raised on Calvary's hill. Men have stood on corners crying, end is nigh. Generation after generation, checking signs and seasons still shall not know the hour, yet we always try. We are frail and flawed, every one of us, no soul among us perfect, none above the rest. Check your pride and hubris, check your arrogance. God don't run his kingdom on our schedule or request. There's a difference, hear me now, between longing for the day and lighting fires in the darkness just to hurry up his way. It's God's time, not ours, his terms, not our own. We shall not know the hour that brings the king back home. So the good, reap the good, stand against the night. Evil wins when good men do nothing. So rise up and fight. It's God's time, not ours. Matthew 16:26. What does a man gain if he wins the whole wide world and throws his soul away? You are known by all your fruits, in the sun and in the rain. Every seed you plant today becomes your judgment day. Those who stir up chaos thinking God will be impressed are in league with the Antichrist, though they claim his holy name. From the Christian Ocean Rikio to the Islamic radicals, jihadist unrest, using God to justify the evil is the devil's game. There's a difference, hear me now, between longing for the day and pouring gasoline on embers just to hurry up his way. It's God's time, not ours, his terms, not our own. We shall not know the hour that brings the king back home. So the good, reap the good, stand against the night. Evil wins when good men do nothing. So rise up and fight. It's God's time, not ours. If you choose not to decide, you still made your choice. Inaction is inaction, silence is a voice. Complicit in the evil that would otherwise be sown is no way for a believer to be known, to be known. Roar, restore our American Republic, ROAR, push back the dark. Roar. We're not here to end it, we're here to guard the flame in every heart. Is the end really nigh this time, for real? Every ear asks the question, every frightened soul can feel that the world is spinning darker, that the hour's drawing near. But it's God's time, not ours. Let that truth cut clean and clear. It's God's time, not ours, his turn, not our own. We shall not know the hour that brings the king back home. So the good, reap the good, stand against the night. Evil wins when good men do nothing. So rise up and fight. It's God's time, not ours. only thing necessary for evil prevail. What they say, good peoples do nothing, doing nothing. The state with most today. The world keeps turning, a dark, strange place. Good folks are yearning for a saving grace. The ship has sailed, they say, on a troubled tide. But what do you do today with nowhere to hide? Questions I've been asking in all my writings. What's your move? Just what about is it you're willing to try to do? Evil prevails when good just sleeps. Light sometimes fails while the darkness creeps. What are you doing now? Tell me, how will you take a bow for all to see? The news, it screams a broken sound, lost in bad dreams on hallowed ground. They say it's all lost cause, a losing fight. But what about your applause for what is right? Only thing it takes for shadow to prevail is a crowd of quiet hearts scroll inside, then turn away. Say this world is torn apart. Ship's gone out past the rusted pier. We just watch it fade. On this fallen ground we're standing, still afraid to wait. So what are you doing? What are you doing now to help the light, help the light, help the light break through the doubt? Are you just waiting for someone else to move? Or will you stand, will you stand, will you stand and be the proof? Tell me, what are you doing? What are you doing? Good folks in a quiet room, hands clean, eyes closed. Say someday I'll make a change, someday never shows. Every hurt you walk right past cuts a deeper line. Every that's not up to me helps the dark align. So what are you doing? What are you doing now to help the light, help the light, help the light break through the doubt? Are you just waiting for someone else to move? Or will you stand, will you stand, will you stand and be the proof? Tell me, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? It's a hard question, looking back at you, yeah, in the mirror, in the silence. You already know what's true. If you're breathing, you're required to answer with your life. Every minute that you're given takes a side.
Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. Thank you for having tuned into another Constitutionalist Podcast show. I really appreciate that you stopped by. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We need you to help spread the Constitutionalist movement. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Love you all.